Watched a little bit of the Lakers, Atlanta Hawks last night. You know, I'm always fascinated with Trae Young, but it just feels like he's had a career, aside from going to the Eastern Conference Finals, where he puts up really good numbers. It's just his team is mired in mediocrity. He's like a 27-10 guy, and you go, man, and then you just go, what's his career going to be like? Yes, Paulie.
Could he be one of those guys who has a second act where he's maybe option 1A with a better team?
Yes. I think he's going to need that. Yes, Todd.
And now he's the new assistant GM of Oklahoma basketball on top of what he does on the court.
I saw that. He followed Steph Curry's blueprint there. So he's the assistant GM for Oklahoma basketball. Adam Lefkoe, NBA on TNT, Inside the NBA. He hosts on Tuesday nights. He's also got a big podcast with Shaq, Turner Sports March Madness studio host. He does it all. How's the ego? I mean, you know, you're getting a lot of run. Now people know your name. You're talking to big-time celebrities. Thanks for taking time out for this little show.
People stop me in the airport. It took a hit.
In a good way? Do they stop you in a good way?
Yeah, they say, hey, stop running into me, idiot. No, my ego took a huge hit after I came in here and I talked about Angel Reese and I argued with you and then the internet did stuff and then you didn't have me on your show for like 8 months. And then I would occasionally text you and be like, man, Caitlin Clark is so good. Just trying to appease what I thought was an ego. And so, no, I thought I
got to be honest with you though, Adam. I didn't know that you were doing it for a reason when you would just randomly send me a text.
No, I just wanted to talk to you, Dan.
You would randomly send me a text going, man, that Caitlin Clark is phenomenal. And I'd be like, yeah, how am I supposed to answer that? Of course she is. Now I understand that you were trying to curry favor or trying to win me back.
Yeah, because I rewatched the video and I was like, I think Dan was actually angry at me. And no, so to know that maybe that wasn't the case.
What was the argument? Were you defending Angel Reese and her?
I was talking Angel Reese. It was like stock was at the very highest. Like they had won 8 in a row. And I was like, I don't know, Dan, she might win Rookie of the Year. And you were like, idiot, I've been in sports for 70 years. But I love you and I miss you.
All right, well, I'm glad to have you back.
And your green hoodie.
Yeah. This is Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore hoodie.
Wow.
By the way,
you got to wear that like what, once a month? You can't wear that too often.
I know. I've probably gone to it a little too often because, you know, people go,
we know when you're wearing it.
Yeah, you got the lime green. My daughter's in New York, and she's walking along the West Side Highway where they have basketball courts, tennis courts. She looks over and she sees somebody in a floral shirt and baggy basketball shorts. And she calls me and FaceTime. She goes, Dad, Adam Sandler is playing a pickup game. And she FaceTimes me. So I'm watching Sandler for like 5 minutes on FaceTime, trying to yell at him. And it was, you know, he gathered a crowd there doing pickup basketball. And he'll play anywhere with anybody. And he was in town for a charity thing.
See, we're watching random 16-year-olds on Twitch, and there's millions of viewers. We should be streaming the Sandler pickup basketball. I would watch that on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. I'm watching Sandler take down random dudes at the Y. I'm in.
Well, he sent me a picture the last time he was playing in Lower Manhattan with Timothy Chalamet. Yeah, and actually he said Chalamet's got some game. So I was like,
that makes sense. When I saw that Timothy Chalamet on 2 separate interviews, one said his style icon is Kenny the Jet Smith, and then said his dream role is playing Ernie Johnson in a biopic. I went, this dude is definitely one of the guys up at 1 a.m. watching Inside the NBA. Also, when did it become biopic and not biopic? When did we make that switch?
I have a problem with it as well. I thought it was biopic, but I've heard, you know.
And it's because someone British probably said biopic. And we went, well, they're always right.
Are you okay with the Final Four? The heavyweights?
I couldn't love it more. I've always been someone where I wish we had more upsets in the round one. But I like all my upsets to happen in the round of 64.
Yeah.
And then I like amazing basketball because at this point, the ratings are going to be higher than they've ever been. The storylines write themselves. I think the Duke Houston game is going to be incredible. I mean, Houston, remember, Jamal Shead got hurt last year against Duke in the Sweet 16. They went out there, they retooled with Uzan. And so the motivation from that side, the seniors versus the stud freshmen, and on the other side, you get the SEC storyline battle that everyone's been obsessed with. This is the best case scenario, just like the 2017 Final Four was amazing as well.
He's Adam Lefkoe, NBA on TNT, Inside the NBA, also co-host of the big podcast with Shaq. Dan Patrick, shut the hell up. Turner Sports March Madness studio host as well. We have already trademarked this. We wanted to do tanking tops for like the Pelicans. They have to wear tanking tops because they're tanking for flag.
Oh, like pennies, like at high school practice.
Yeah. You must
I love this.
You have to wear tanking tops in practice.
Because tanking isn't obvious enough, Dan. Like we need to make it more obvious when they're playing.
Yes. We need to shame them. We want to shame them. Are the Sixers tanking?
Yeah. Like it seems like it. It seems like half the league is tanking because they too are watching the Final Four and seeing Cooper Flag. This is the time of the year when everyone tries to solve tanking. And my solve is just watch games like Houston, LA, and Minnesota, Denver, and just don't pay attention to them, I think. Do you change the weight of the lottery? If you're not in the lottery, is everyone get a chance to have the first pick in the draft? It's the same thing. I'm also an Eagles fan. Ban the tush push. I don't know. It just all seems unnecessary and excessive and arguing about like the parts of sports that you actually don't care about.
What's left to be settled with 2 weeks to go in the season?
So right now, the West is a cluster in terms of seeding. And I think everyone is either trying to fit, like if Houston gets the 2 seed, sort of like we had a few years ago where everyone was jockeying to get the 7 to face Memphis because they were younger. That seems to be the jockeying right now. I mean, you have some great teams in the West playing. Minnesota's a dangerous team. The Clippers are showing to be a dangerous team. And then in the East, it's right now 1, 2, 3 looks set. And then do the Pacers get the 4? Where are the Bucks? I would love to see Bucks, Pacers, Pistons, Knicks. I think is the best matchup in that middle ground. I don't think anyone's messing with Boston or Cleveland. But on the West, you're trying to avoid the Thunder for as long as possible. And you're probably trying to take on Houston because they can't score in a half-court offense. And like we saw with Memphis all those years, you could be great in transition and offensive rebound. But once the playoffs start, and it's called differently, if you can't score in a slowed-down game, you're going to be in trouble.
Does the success of the Lakers hinge on them playing defense?
You know, and last night they put up 103. I would say it is. I would say also it's the other 3-point shooters. Last night, Gabe Vincent, Dorian Finney-Smith hit 12 threes combined and put up 40 points. And so Luka and LeBron are going to do their thing. I don't think we're going to get Austin Reeves dropping 30 points all the time. But who else can hit threes when Luka and LeBron dish? Because Luka's gravitational pull, as you know, is so strong, just like it was in Dallas. You need the Reggie Bullocks. You need those guys on the outside that can hit those threes when it matters. Defensively, though, can we rely on LeBron weak side blocks in the clutch every game? I don't think so. They went out and tried to trade for Mark Williams, the center for Charlotte, who just went off for another 18 and 13. I don't know what happened with that injury scan, but they showed us right there they needed another big. They didn't have it. And that's why, for me, the Lakers run is more likely next year than this year.
More all in on OKC or Cleveland?
OKC. That was the wrong Eastern Conference team to mention for me. I'm a Boston guy. I think that Boston right now is a little bit like OKC, where I feel like, and I don't think they're intentionally resting, but hey, Jaylen Brown, you're off tonight. Just like OKC, hey, Jalen Williams, take some more rest. Boston right now, I would take over. I need to see it with Cleveland, and I'm boring like that.
Yeah, and the same thing with OKC. We still need to see it.
I don't know why I have more faith in Oklahoma City. Maybe it's because, and like I know Cleveland battled Boston and battled back and have beaten Boston. I watched that OKC Boston game a few weeks ago with Chuck, and I was flabbergasted. Like we were just sitting there watching Oklahoma City play defense, and typically, like last night, Boston will swing, 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 and by the fourth swing, they caught you in a bad defensive shift. But Oklahoma City is five guys that can all switch. It's Lou Dort, it's Caruso, both of their bigs. Chet and Hartenstein can switch, and I think against Boston, you need to have that position versatility, and I think they have it. And I think I don't know. I trust Dagnall a lot. I do trust the Thunder, even though they haven't done it.
Who's more interesting when the camera's not on, Barkley or Shaq?
Interesting in different ways. Chuck will go out in public and will interact with everybody, which I find endearing, but also wildly annoying because you're never going to get the story finished. So then, Adam, as I was telling you, the key to life is, oh, you want a picture? Okay, can you send them around the drinks? Yeah, where are you from, honey? That's great. And you're like, where Shaq is like, we're going to go into a private room by ourselves. And he's going to, Shaq is going to tell you business stories about how he walked into a boardroom and was like, I'm Shaq. Whereas Chuck is going to tell you a story about, Barcelona in '92. Very different people, but they're the best when they're together. They're peanut butter and jelly.
I like, though, that Shaq didn't want money from a company. He wanted part of the company. He wanted
Chuck
equity.
And now Chuck is finally in his equity bag. Now he's got Redmont Vodka and he's got all of his companies. I want to know, there's a chill that goes through the halls of TNT when we get an alert that says Charles Barkley on the Dan Patrick Show today. And I just want to know, is this like the Manchurian Candidate? Do you have like a little node in the back of his brain where you get him to say anything? What have you done to this man? How have you controlled his brain?
One of the first times I met him, I did a Sunday conversation when he was he was with Phoenix. Although I did meet him when he was with the 76ers. But he talked about being a woman. And so we had somebody at ESPN kind of make him up as a woman, and we used the picture on the Sunday conversation with him. And he got the biggest kick out of that. And then I would just see him, and he stayed in touch, and it always feels like that's our normal conversation. If I'm around Reggie Miller, that'd be a normal conversation. Around Charles, normal conversation. So all I try to do is bring normalcy to something that isn't normal, and that's an interview over Zoom. And Charles falls for it every time.
I think he loves talking to people he loves to talk to is one. Both of those two people are top two in terms of love being themselves. Chuck loves being Chuck, and Shaq loves being Shaq, and they've earned that. But Chuck, to a T, like last night, I thought it'd be funny because I hit a parlay on NBA on TNT, and Chuck has yet to hit one this year, and that was my second. And so I was like, let me FaceTime Chuck. He'll understand it on TV.
I know.
And he picked it up, and I knew I was in trouble, Dan, when he had his clear glasses, and they were towards the edge of his nose. Because as Chuck is out, they get further and further down, and then the talking gets louder and louder. And I tried, and he got me. And then I FaceTimed him afterwards, and all I heard was like 10 dudes laughing. And I was like, "Where are you?" He was like, "Oh, I'm out with the fellas. We were watching you, and when I saw you FaceTime me, I was like, you knew, and you still tried to end my life." And he was like, "Yeah,
yeah."
Language. But that's Chuck, man.
Language.
He's the GOAT.
Great job. Hope you're having fun.
I'm having a blast. Can I ask you for advice?
Okay.
Did you ever cover tennis, extensively, or just SportsCenter?
I reported on it, like the U.S. Open, but I didn't do anything where it was, like Chris Fowler calling matches.
Oh no, never. We're hosts, and we're not play-by-play
Yes.
people. They're a whole weird. They like being on the road and staying in econo lodges. That's not our lives.
Yes.
We like cushiness. We like someone that comes and puts our IFB back.
Are you going to be a host?
Well, I'm at the point where I'm thinking. I'm starting to do March Madness, and I'm thinking about other sports. What about baseball? About tennis, things like that. What is when you start to go? Okay, I'm going to throw myself into another sport. I'm going to really study and learn. How do you, Dan Patrick, one of the greatest of all time, how do you throw yourself into a new sport?
I go into the deep end, but I go into the deep end with people who have been with the sport for a long, long time. So they are my floaties. I'm in the deep end, but I have these guys, Mike Milbury, when I did hockey, you can just ask these guys. There's so many guys that, especially in that sport, who want to help you. And that helped me greatly. When I went to the Olympics, you throw yourself in with Bob Costas and Al Michaels. I have the two greatest, so now I just listen. But if you're going to do that, be around people who have done this because they want to know if you're real or not. I just go in and I just say, hey, as if I don't know anything, help me understand these things. And you'll be amazed at how much help like Doc Emmerich. I just wanted to know how much why do you love the game so much? And he gave me that. Costas with the Olympic and you work so hard, consecutive days. It's a grind working the Olympics. But he said you'll get, it'll hit you and you'll get caught up in it and you'll just be on overdrive. You'll just be on adrenaline. And it was great. Those are very, very beneficial. But as a result, I'm doing that now when Tony Dungy and Rodney Harrison came in to Football Tonight. I said, I want you to put your egos to the side. I'm going to help you learn TV. Football. I'm going to help you with TV. And I think that's the important part is you can play a role to other, people coming up, but people will play a role with you to help you understand the nuance. Certain things you say and don't say. Terminology is really big. If somebody says, oh, you're in the bunker or you're in the sand trap, well, you get the people who watch the sport who would go be, oh, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, right. And he's out at home base. No, it's home play, silly things like that. But the more you're around people who love the sport and they're almost watchdogs, lifeguards for it, that'll help you, I think.
It was beautiful. I appreciate you, Dan. And hey, Caitlin Clark, MVP, baby. We got it this year, Dan. This is the year.
You think she's finally going to get the credit that she's due?
I just wish people would pay more attention. I just feel like they need to watch her.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I don't know where they're going to watch her or find her. I don't know if she's got any national TV games this year, but she deserves it.
Thank you, Lefkoe.
Love you.
That's Adam Lefkoe. He's popular. NBA on TNT, Inside the NBA. Also co-host of the big podcast with Shaquille O'Neal. We'll take a break. Phone calls coming up, top of the hour. We discuss the torpedo bats.